Overwhelmed? That was me with diabetes. Hey, I'm Jabron. Between teaching and coaching, managing diabetes felt like an extra job. With the Freestyle Libre 3 CGM, I get real-time glucose readings and have the insights to make informed decisions. My life feels lighter now. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Ice Cube's Big 3 is back. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Saturday. Big 3 All-Star Dwight Howard and the LA Riot take on Greg Monroe and the Dallas Power. Then Coach Rick Mahorn, Sensation Nazir Kaur, and the Detroit Amps look to protect home court against back-to-back MVP Michael Beasley and the defending champs Miami 305. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch replays on BET.
Oh, yay, yay!
Join Scotty G and the coach, Tim LaCombe, Wednesday from 10 to 2 at RGS Exteriors at 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan.
I am the champion of the U.S. Open. Good morning, Bob.
How you doing, PK?
Oh, I'm on top of the world, and I can't get any higher. Wyndham Clark, and he and I put the win in Wyndham.
He and you?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Oh,
Bob, you have no idea.
I think it was.
No, it was me. I picked him, Bob. I'm relishing this. Bob, I went to bed on Saturday with the lead, and I did not have a restful night. It was just nerve-wracking. Know what was ahead of me on the following day. Yeah.
Yep.
And then to win it by one.
Well,
and I was thinking about this, Bob. If I would pick first or second, I'd probably have more majors than Jack and Tiger combined.
What is this, your second?
It's at least my eighth. What are you talking about, my second? Have you heard of Matthew Fitzpatrick? Yes, you did once I picked him. Have you heard when everybody said Tiger was done and I picked him? Wyndham Clark with the last pick. I decided now to make it fair in the British, I'll only pick once after you guys pick.
For those of you who are new to the show, Bob Casper joins us now. You hear him on Real Golf Radio Saturday mornings with Brian Taylor. PK, noted blowhard and golf expert. Could not wait for this moment. Bob, you want to know about a text exchange? The three of us have a group text. Back in the day, you used to have show meetings. Now you just have the show text. And as stuff happens, we're just you drop. You probably have the same thing with Brian doing your show, right?
Yep.
So somewhere around hole 15, 16, whatever, Jay Gatch sends out, should I get Bob on tomorrow? Because if it's a six-shot blowout, there's not that much to talk about, right? But it was at least down to 3, and it might have been tighter than that when Jake sent the text. So I see it, and it's like, well, let's see how he handles 18, and then PK will know if he wants to have Bob on or not.
Yeah.
And literally, that putt goes up and stops 3 inches from the cup. He's like, oh, he's got it now. He's got to tap in and win. And PK's like, yeah, get Bob on.
Get Bob on.
I said, let's get Bob on the 7 o'clock hour so we can play it in the 8 and 9 o'clock hours.
He did say that. He did. And one more time tomorrow morning. He couldn't wait to
You know what? I would have gone on in the 7 o'clock hour.
Yeah, but
then you could have.
I'm magnanimous. I don't like to rub it in.
Yeah.
The last 15 minutes aside.
But the interesting thing is, DJ, is how often the rules change to maneuver so that he can get in a position like this where he can gloat a little bit.
Hey. Well, he's changing the rules to make it entertaining. I mean, we could have picked Wyndham Clark. He took him with the last pick.
You know, he did. And yeah. Kudos to him that he did pick Wyndham Clark. Wyndham Clark came off of, a good week last week. He won a few weeks ago in Dallas, and Wyndham Clark is a good champion. The shot of the golf tournament for Wyndham Clark was his second shot on the 16th hole.
Out of the fescue.
He was able to get, out of the junk. When he was able to get it up there, to get it close to the green, or to get it down where he could get on the green with his third shot, and that he made that putt. I was telling my family, that's the shot of, if he goes on to win, that's the shot of the tournament, and that's what it was.
I don't know how they feel about this, and I don't think they have any power to do anything, regardless of how they feel. But hearing the discussions with the player and the caddy, I really like that. And it's just an extension of, I've always told PK, as soon as you start miking up NFL coaches, I'm all about it, right? Miking players. Yeah. Everybody wants to sit courtside. That's why they charge the most money. Everybody wants to sit in the first row of a baseball game behind home plate. That's why you want to hear the conversations. And I thought that was, and that whole thing about good process, I'm like, that has nothing to do with the process. You're just trying to say something positive last thing, so you've got them in as good a mental state as possible before they swing the club.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
exactly.
I didn't know that because I don't get to go inside the ropes at PGA Tour events, and I thought that was awesome hearing all those conversations. And when he said, I can get to it, I thought, ooh, that's a lot of confidence. And you could see it, but you can't see it the way he can see it. And I thought, as soon as he hit that, I was thinking, playoff. I was rooting for a playoff. No, we're not going to play.
You were pulling your your guts out for Sam Burns. Let's call it like it is. No, I really wasn't. That's what you were going to say. You're so predictable. The hell you weren't.
Because you know more about golf than me, and I know you know more about golf.
Yeah, but you know more about life.
But you don't enjoy taunting me about golf. You enjoy taunting Bob because Bob knows a lot more about golf. Outpicking me isn't hard for you.
And yet you were still rooting for Sam Burns.
I was rooting for a playoff.
You would just
because
say
drama,
no.
There's nothing else on
Keep
it.
talking and trying to defend it.
You want to play the victim. I understand that. Like you just told us the last hour.
I'm the champion,
and
my
yet you
friend.
Want to play the victim.
I am the champion. I blew you guys out of the water again.
I know.
Victim. I got your victim right here.
But you're playing the victim.
How about, Bob?
Oh, boy.
The ability to go start to finish. How rare and how difficult is that?
That was amazing. That was amazing. And he started off with his first round and was able to kind of just keep there and be in control of the whole golf tournament. Yeah, he got off to a bad start in the front nine, but I'll tell you what, every time it looked like he was going to open the door, he shut the door with a birdie or with the shot on 16 and making birdie at 16 and giving himself a little bit more cushion again. He's a golfer that a lot of people were really down on after what he did last year in the locker room at Oakmont. And he's apologized many, many times for that.
Just like me.
And you are an apologist, that is for sure.
Many people are down on me, Bob.
Yep.
Including the guy to my left.
Ooh, listen to that. Your buddy to your left is down on you. But he was able to do what he needed to do on the 17th and 18th holes to get into the house and be the champion. Whether it was one shot or 6 shots or 7 shots, it didn't matter. He was able to get it done.
So the people who are saying, he caught a break with the course and the weather, and he got the calmest conditions, and that's when he went low and built that big lead. Sour grapes, or he caught a break and he just exploited it? Not his fault the wind didn't blow.
The thing you have to understand in professional golf and major championship golf is there are 2 sides to the draw to play the golf tournament. In the first 2 days, you have a morning wave and an afternoon wave. He could have just as well been on the morning wave and shot that score that he shot. But the morning wave on Thursday got higher wind as compared to the afternoon wave, and then vice versa the other day. This happens a lot at the British Open, which we have coming up in a month. And by virtue of getting on the wrong side of the draw, can shoot you out of the golf tournament and you not have a chance to win. But having said that, Scotty, a lot of guys were in that morning wave, and they were still right there with a chance to do something in the final round, but they didn't get it done. Only 3 guys ended up shooting under par. And we only had 3 guys in all the majors leading up to this one, U.S. Open majors at Shinnecock, ever that had shot under par. So, the golf course was set up exactly the way it needed to. John Bodenhammer did a phenomenal job in keeping moisture and everything in the golf course the first couple of days because of the winds, and that's what they were looking for. And then they turned up the screws a little bit for the last 2 rounds, took the greens to 11 stimp meter for the final 2 rounds and a little less water, and made that golf course just a little bit more difficult. And the golf course was phenomenal this week as compared to past years when they lost it a little bit and it got too dry. John Bodenhammer did a great job, and Wyndham Clark was the champion, and he did a phenomenal job as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was playing in a non-wind tunnel that was exclusive to him. I think the reason why he shot a 64 is because it was Thursday, and the reason why he shot a 73 because it was Sunday, and there's not as much pressure Thursday as there is Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. And, you got to hand it to him because he was very resilient the whole week long. What was phenomenal about him is the way he drove the ball all week, and then also his putter. I mean, you watch Saturday's round, he made so many putts in the 5 to 6 foot range for pars or for birdies or whatever to allow him to keep his score where he wanted to be and not give up a lot of shots. His pitching of the ball and chipping of the ball, his short game around those greens, and his putting around those greens are what won him the golf tournament. He did a masterful job.
Scheffler, it seemed like there were a million opportunities, and it seemed like he had a million putts that missed by 1, 2, or 3 inches.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's bad. It obviously wasn't good enough. What is he supposed to be thinking? What is his mental state? Has he lost his edge like we've seen with Koepka and Spieth? And I'm going to go on down the list of, hey, he had a run and it was a great run, but it is a game of inches, and he's probably not going to keep doing what he's doing.
He's too much of a competitor to let that tournament, which he had an opportunity to get the career Grand Slam for the first time. He's too much of a competitor to let that kind of determine his fate and his future. Scotty Scheffler did not putt well all week. He had a difficult time. Those greens are not easy to putt. They're Poana greens. They get dry. They get bumpy. And it's very, very difficult. Same type of greens that we'll have next year for the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. Bumpy, difficult greens, especially when they get stressed and dried out a little bit in a U.S. Open championship, the way they set up the golf course. But, coming off of 7 wins last year, having 1 win this year, having the worst finish of the year is a tie for 23rd this year, and he has, I think there's 3 of those that he's finished outside the top 10. I think he's played 11 events, and every other event he's finished inside the top 10 with 3 second-place finishes in a row starting at the Masters. Scotty Scheffler he's playing good golf. He's just not winning on the clip that he won last year. So having said that, he's a guy that loves the competition. He loves the challenge, and he loves being in the arena of being a major champion and trying to win major championships. And it's not going to change. He's not done. He's only 30 years old, and he's going to win a bunch more. He's going to be one of the really, really good ones that we look at the end of his career.
Yeah, they were dissecting this on the Golf Channel, this very thing that you're talking about, Bob, and one of the guys, I forget who it was saying that he believes that Scheffler is not even, he's getting closer, and he's really close now, but he's not to the halfway point of his level of accomplishment. And
right.
I didn't know if necessarily I agreed with that. I thought, well, maybe he is. Maybe he's in his prime right now. He was pointing out, whatever the commentator, whoever it was, that he still feels like he's got maybe at the end of this year, then he'll be there. But he's not there yet, which really bodes well for the next several years.
Yeah, I just like the way he carries himself around the golf course. Number one player in the world, and he continues to put himself in the position. I mean, it would be a different story, you guys, if he had missed a cut this year or two cuts this year,
right?
Or he's finishing outside the top 30 in tournaments and stuff. The worst he's finished this year is tied for 23rd, and he's had all of those top 10 finishes. He keeps putting himself in contention and playing in final groups and all that kind of thing. And it's the golf game first of all, it's an individual sport, and you have to continue to hone it and continue to get better to be able to do the things that you've done, like his 7 wins last year. So his puttings, his iron shots to the greens are not as good this year. His putting is okay, but it's probably not as good this year. He hasn't made key putts at times when he needed to win more golf tournaments. But you know what? I'm not worried about Scottie Scheffler. We're going to see him up there as number one for a long time.
So that midway through his career, I mean, he's been playing full time on the tour 7 years now. Wouldn't he have like 14 more years? I mean, he's 30. We're seeing guys play into their mid-40s.
Oh, yeah.
So I would think he's unless I don't get the quote maybe, but I'm thinking he's like a third of the way through his career.
Right. You know, and then the other thing you got to think about with Scottie Scheffler is 5 years ago, he just started winning 5 years ago. And here he is. He's a lifetime member of the tour. He's got 20 wins. He's got 4 major championships, an opportunity to win the career Grand Slam with one more win in the U.S. Open. He's got 20 more U.S. Opens to have an opportunity to do that. It took Rory 13 years to be able to clip that one, to knock that one off at the Masters. He's winning on a clip right now that we haven't seen in a long time since Jack and Tiger Woods. And, he's going to, in my opinion, he's probably going to get very, very close to 40, if not 50 wins. And my dad had 51 in 3 majors. He's already got 4. He's going to be a guy that's going to, I think he will finish probably in the top 10 with his career in wins on the PGA Tour.
What do you think of having a signature event right after? Because there's been some, I don't know what the word would be, maybe controversy or discussion about it. We had one a few weeks ago, and we've had them going into majors, going out of majors. These guys pick and choose where they want to play. Rory's not playing this week. Scotty's playing this week. Tony got an exemption to play this week. He got in a signature event this week, and this week is an important week because the PGA Tour is going to unveil more information about their future going forward and events and that kind of thing. So this is all going to be very, very interesting because we're going to have more of these types of events before and after major championships going forward. There's going to be 22 to 24 of these elevated events in the near future as far as the schedule is concerned, including majors, the Players' Championship, and the playoffs and the Tour Championship. That's the Track 1 events that the PGA Tour has been talking about, and then the Track 2 events. There's going to be about 20 of them. But the really cool thing that's going to happen is, now there's 70 to 100 players getting in signature events. There's going to be 120 to 130 going forward. It's going to give more guys an opportunity to play and become better players and earn more money and work their way
through meritocracy to get up into the elite players, and they're going to have a lot of opportunities to play. There's going to be a full cut where right now there's not a cut in those type of events. And, it's the PGA Tour is making some really big, interesting moves, and we're going to hear more about it this week because of the players meeting and what they're going to be proposing. But I don't have a problem with signature events after a major, not at all, because the guys can choose or pick and choose as to which ones they want to play.
Bob, we'll leave it right there for now. Thanks for joining us. We will talk to you again next month with the Open Championship on the horizon.
And, Bob, if you want some advice, don't hesitate.
Oh, DK, good for you, buddy. Glad you won.
Thank you. At least someone is.
Take care, guys.
See ya. DJ and PK when we come back. David Locke on the NBA draft and the college coach who is leaving for a high-profile NBA job. Breaking news. One coach is leaving Michigan and jumping to the NBA, PK.
Boy, it'd be awfully funny if Michigan hires Alex Jensen.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
They've been doing it for a while.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Darren Peterson's camp thinks he's going to be the number one overall pick. In fact, the quote is they are very confident he's going to be the number one overall pick, so he doesn't need to come work out in Utah because he doesn't think he's going to be on the board.
I think it's foolish of Washington if that news is out. Mm-hmm. I think that really damages them, so way to go there. You don't have to assure anyone a dang thing. Why would you weaken your leverage?
The Wizards don't really have an angle of why this would want to come out.
We know where it's from,
Who
for
does
sure.
it benefit?
Yes.
The only person who this could actually benefit is Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
If he is looking at the draft boards and saying, oh man, I'm going to be the number 2 overall pick, that seems to be where everybody's leaning. So last gasp effort, Darren Peterson's camp says, we're canceling our workout with Utah to show Washington how invested we are with Washington, so they feel forced to take us.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Overwhelmed? That was me with diabetes. Hey, I'm Jabron. Between teaching and coaching, managing diabetes felt like an extra job. With the Freestyle Libre 3 CGM, I get real-time glucose readings and have the insights to make informed decisions. My life feels lighter now. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Ice Cube's Big 3 is back. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Saturday. Big 3 All-Star Dwight Howard and the LA Riot take on Greg Monroe and the Dallas Power. Then Coach Rick Mahorn, Sensation Nazir Kaur, and the Detroit Amps look to protect home court against back-to-back MVP Michael Beasley and the defending champs Miami 305. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch replays on BET.
Oh, yay, yay!
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The breaking news this morning, PK. Every time you look up, there's another headline from the NBA. It's go time. The NBA moving front and center this week. Dusty May finalizing the deal to leave the University of Michigan and go to Dallas. Coach the Mavs, and obviously the big draw. Hey, you got Cooper Flagg.
Oh, yeah. He's a good player already.
You got a cornerstone piece.
And, yeah. And we've seen how when Tim Floyd went from Iowa State, was it, to the Bulls, that affected Utah State. And so it's not just what's going to be him going, fine.
That's a big move, but if they don't promote an assistant from within, then the dominoes start
the chain.
Yeah, right.
And who knows where it leads.
No, nobody knows. We would have never guessed that the Bulls would make a decision that impacted Utah State, but they did.
Right. And this is way late in the college basketball, but not in the NBA.
It is way late in college hoops.
Yeah.
Although college hoops just also has a new timeline. Listening to the BYU media availability players and coaches and Kevin Young, I just want to address this right away about the big. He's hearing it everywhere he goes. He doesn't sound that panicked. There's somebody they're working on. There's some other people they're talking to. It used to be you got to this point, rosters were set.
Yeah, it's like Shu's son is his name or something like that.
But they're not set yet. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and we're joined by David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. David, good morning.
Oh, my gosh. A Monday, starting the week, instead of ending the week, discombobulated. Don't have room for a great open. Can't think of things. I'm not ready yet. It's first thing Monday. There's only been 4 shots of espresso instead of 40 by Friday. I can't rise to the occasion of the greatness of DJ and PK on a Monday.
Are you set on who you think you would want? And do you think that the Jazz are still ongoing, still being tossed about?
I am not set. I am assuming the Jazz are set at this point.
Oh, okay.
I waver regularly. I waver on who should be the first pick. I waver on how much I like each guy, how much their weaknesses bother me. I would say that's actually probably what changes the most for me personally day to day is like a weakness, and then you start worrying about it. And so I don't. The idea that Cameron Boozer should be the number 1 pick of the draft, which is like every analytics department viewpoint, and I get closer to that every day, frankly. Let me ask you guys the question: who helps you win more? This is my podcast today. Who helps you win more?
What's your definition of timeline for win?
I mean, win more basketball games.
Today,
you win
in 26, 27, or 30, 31? Because I think that could be 2 different answers.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. But let's see if we can cumulatively answer that question, like over the stretch of the next 5 to 6 years, which player wins more basketball games?
Oh, that's a different question than which guy has a team in the NBA Finals by the time he's 25, 26, 27. Which one of these guys is most likely to be the best player on an NBA Finals team in 6, 7, 8 years?
Okay, so that's an interesting. Like we're dancing on 2 different levels here.
Yep.
You're dancing in like the upper 1% of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. I am.
Right.
On purpose.
Yeah, and I'm dancing on more of like, I got to play 82 games for the next 6 years with this guy. And who's going to give me 5 extra wins every year because of the way he plays, which gets me in the and so
if I were drafting,
those are 2 very different.
I know.
Those are 2 very different questions.
But if I'm drafting 10th, if I'm drafting 10th or 15th, I'm doing what you are. But I'm drafting 2nd. And this is a rare chance to take a big swing. So I'm thinking different than I'm drafting 10 or 15. I'm thinking the way you are. But I'm drafting 2, so I'm thinking different.
Well, I actually think Cameron might be my answer to both these questions. I think the biggest upside is Cameron Boozer becomes a ball-handling, point-forward initiator of the offense. I don't know that he's good enough to do this, but you're taking a swing. I'm not sure his handle's really that good, and I'm not sure he really can get low enough to do this because if you have a high dribble, it's hard to do. But that's his big swing is that he's Cade Cunningham at 6'10", and he's your point guard and he's initiating half of his possessions on the floor every night. And the other half, he's setting the pick and rolling to the mid post, and he's making a play off the free throw line on a mid roll. And then another set of possessions, he's pinning a point guard down on the post, and he's just a force. He's just an incredible force. AJ's is that he shoots the 3. That AJ can shoot 37, 38% from 3 with his ability to pull up in the mid-range, and he's an unstoppable offensive player. Those 2 have the biggest upside. I don't think Peterson's upside is as high as these other guys. Caleb Wilson's upside's really interesting too, frankly. Sometimes I do all this stuff and I circle back to Caleb Wilson, that if it all comes back together, then but he's a when and an if a little bit more. But if his when and if happens, it's pretty beautiful. So maybe it's, maybe Boozer's answer to both these questions. I think Boozer might help you win more games. Like Boozer might just win you more games, just the way he plays. He might be the better player for 44 minutes, and he's not the best player for the final 4 minutes. But the 44 minutes might matter more. Well, by definition, they do, actually.
Yeah, you use the word might there 4 times, so that causes some level of concern. The thing that I find fascinating in this is that here we are on the precipice of this draft, and there is not a consensus number one. And it seems to me like last year and then a couple years back with Wembanyama and Flag, there was a consensus number one. And I'm wondering, are these players really all that cracked up that they're to be or supposed to be or will be? Because if they were, somebody would be a consensus number one. We can't have three superstars right at the top of the draft. I mean, you're big on history and what analytics say. Well, I don't know that that's happened. And so that causes me a little concern that there is, at this point, not necessarily, at least publicly, a consensus, not necessarily unanimous, because consensus and unanimous are two different things. But there's not an obvious number one pick. Like last year, Cooper Flag, the Michigan coach is going to leave to go coach the Dallas Mavericks because Cooper Flag is there. And so I'm wondering if that is a little bit of a concern that someone has not separated, or maybe this is the one-time fluke where there's going to be 3 great stars or 4 great stars. You put in Wilson there.
I think that's fair. And I don't know which it is, but you're right. So the only draft ever that's had 2 MVPs in the top 4 is the Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook draft. There's actually almost never been a draft. There's been one draft, I think, ever where the top 4 picks, there's an MVP, a top 20, a top 50, and a starter. Every other draft in the history of the league, basically, one of the top 4 players doesn't pan out. And more often than not, you have like a top 20, a top 50, and a starter. So maybe this is a little better that we get it. You do get an MVP candidate. Like, that's where they come from. Like, the MVP candidates, Kate Cunningham was an MVP candidate this year a little bit, right?
Sure.
Jaylen Brown was an MVP candidate this year. He's top 3 pick. Like, those are, they weren't MVPs, but they were that's their caliber. And those are top 3 picks. They get that. So you're right. And I think there is a little bit. Like, I have my worst case, like, my concern on all 3 is really real. Like, let me just ask you guys, you've watched it more than I have. Is A.J. DeBonta going to shoot better than 35 or 36% from 3 in the NBA?
I'd say no.
Okay, then he's a real problem. He's not actually just not as good as we want. He's actually an anchor to your offense. You cannot find an efficient offensive player who's going to use 15 or more. You cannot find an offensive player in the NBA who uses 15 or more possessions, who shoots below 35% from 3, who's offensively efficient. It doesn't happen. You can't do it. I don't care how many free throws you shoot. That's if he can't shoot 35% from 3, he's my 4th pick of the top 4. If you're really comfortable with that, then he is. I mean, they're 20-point a game scorers, but they're anchors to their offense. That's to your point that someone hasn't separated. Like, if we knew AJ was going to shoot 35 or 36% from 3, he would have separated. And the odds wouldn't be heading back the other direction, right? He was minus 500 as the number 1 pick. He's now minus 425. I'm going to guess he's below minus 400 by the end of today.
Yeah, I get your point.
Do you think Peterson is only working out for one team because he knows Washington is going to take him, or is he only working out for one team because he's trying to send a message to Washington, obviously I'm the number 1 pick and you should take me?
I think it's the second. So first of all, like, AJ, everyone's shocked by, like, not everyone's shocked, but AJ did an interview with, I think, Quentin Richardson or someone like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't go work out for these teams. I just go visit the cities. Like, it wasn't like Darren Peterson was going to go get on the floor and do a bunch of work when he came to Utah. So I don't know what the point, if they've already met with Darren in Chicago, and the point would be to show him the city and make him think that the city's okay. Well, if he doesn't think the city's okay, you're still drafting him. So I'm not sure it really matters. Right. And I'm, from his agent standpoint, I'm not entirely sure what they gain by him coming to visit. I don't think if I was Darren Peterson's agent, I wouldn't have visited Utah either. Like, it just looks like I'm accepting that I could be the number 2 pick. I don't gain anything from the visit. They're not going to not take me or take me. I'm not giving them more medicals. The league now has rules on what you have to do at the combine. I did that. I'm not going to do more. So I actually don't know what the value of coming to visit Utah is. So I just think it's like it's a good headline. It carried a bunch of clicks for a while. But I think and I get it. Like, I'm not criticizing anyone for making it a headline, and we all talked about it. But it's not. And if it's L.A., he probably comes and visits because then he gets 3 days in L.A. Like, I don't know. But it's like it's just a non-impactful issue. Because it wasn't like he was getting on the floor and doing like a draft workout when, Donovan did his draft workout with 5 other guys and he torched them all. And you knew Donovan was special. Like, if he was doing anything, it was going to be against a chair. But he wasn't going to do that. And they weren't going to get to see anything that really gave them an understanding of who he was as a player.
Then if he's available, the Jazz would have no problem drafting him if they think he's the best player available.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Right. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And so his visit doesn't really matter at all.
I don't think so.
And it doesn't matter for either side, actually.
Right.
I don't think the Jazz are bothered that he didn't visit. And if I was Darren Peterson's agent, I wouldn't have visited.
If I'm Adam Silver, I'm glad he didn't visit because that made news. It made clicks. People were talking about the NBA.
Right. And it adds drama to the hour before the show this
Precisely.
week.
And it's going to bring in more viewers.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't going to watch the draft.
Crazy,
now I'm going to watch it.
We don't really know we have this high-quality players. We don't really know who's the number 1 pick. We don't really know who the number 2 pick is either. Like, we kind of had this a little bit in the Paulo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith draft, but I don't know that but they aren't as good of players. Or at least they weren't projected to be as good of players.
Right.
And there is this little wild card that, like, if the Jazz drafted Caleb Wilson second, it's a stunner, but it's not out of the realm of possibility at all.
I think it is.
I mean, if go back to our first question, you guys when I asked who helps you win more, you asked when. You can make a real argument that he's the best player in 4 years.
I think why we're doing that is because he had the furthest to come. Is that these kids started getting hyped at 15 and 16. By 17, it's like their draft position is almost cemented. Are they going to go top 5 or not? And Wilson had longer to go, and he wasn't there when he was 16, so he becomes more intriguing. He's more of a mystery, and because of that mystery, that leads to the intrigue. Well, maybe, and he's 6'10", and he's athletic, and blah, 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 blah. Whereas if we just flipped him, and it was DeBonsa who had longer to go, we'd be saying the same things about DeBonsa.
Right. But that might be why you draft him.
Maybe so.
Here's the biggest thing I would say. We're doing 90% of our conversation on their college year, and I would say it's probably 30% of the evaluation.
Oh, I agree. We were talking about this earlier, DJ and I, where I said the Darren Peterson thing is he came in as the number 1 pick before the season, and so everybody and their dog that has his ear is telling him, you need to sit, you need to protect the investment. Whereas if he was Acuff or the kid from Houston or whatever, he's out on the floor. But no, he can't afford to drop in the stats. Too much money at stake, and he's making too much money. Jay Drew had a story in the Deseret News yesterday about Ace DeBonce's father, the spiel on Father's Day, and he quit his job when the kid was 16 years old because he's making money. It's all about investment and stuff. It's not about playing in the 35 games into college. Who gives a crap about that?
Right. So we're evaluating all these college. I'm doing it too. The fact of the matter is that the Jazz have watched these guys for 4 years. And they're, and that's those are the games. All this matters as much as everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the dad aspect of all this stuff is a little crazy, right? Like, I mean, it's clear that like everyone's invested, and I get it. Like, it's a lot of money, and if I was a dad, I guess I would be too.
Sure.
But it is like, you do wonder, like we've seen the parents destroy, I saw Robert Swift, and that was very well publicly. And there was another player I saw who was not as public. So I'm not going to throw his parents under the bus right now, but like his dad was a real problem. Like, his dad literally sat front row across from the team and then literally had a meeting with his player after his son, after every home game about what he thought was right and wrong. It's super problematic. Like the idea that we think that Darren Peterson's dad or AJ DeBonce's dad is not going to be heavily involved in their kid in every way, considering how heavily they've been all involved at this point. Well, is I don't know what that impact is.
All right, before we go, do you have any final pronouncements? Anything you want to say and get on the record so you can say, I was right, I knew it, or there's just too much doubt out there and we'll just find out when they make the pick?
My 3 takeaways sitting here at this moment. If you want the big swing, I think it's Boozer. I think he is the one who has you talk about the big swing, I get the big swing, I think it's Boozer. I think Peterson has the smallest differential between his ceiling and his floor. And AJ's shooting is not an additive, it's a necessity.
We'll leave it right there, David. We appreciate it as always. Even on a Monday, if you've only had four espressos instead of 40, we'll still take it.
All right. Talk to you Friday, hopefully. Then my life will be complete.
Exactly. Thank you, David.
See ya.
It's David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz.
All leads to all sorts of intrigue. I wonder, do the Jazz have the guts to take Boozer? Because if they don't take DeBonsa and he blows up, they're going to get so much blowback. And they can say, we don't care. We're harder on ourselves than anybody else, blah, 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 blah. We all know the cliches.
But nonetheless.
Yeah. And you had a kid who was somewhat of a hometown product.
Yeah. Right down the road. You had a whole year to get to know him. There's a massive loophole in the rules for NBA people who got to keep everybody at arm's length, and there's all kinds of – but no, it's your alma mater, and you can be there.
They all knew
he
was going to BYU.
Yeah.
They didn't turn on the TV at ESPN like we did. I mean, because he had told KY weeks earlier, and I'm sure they told each other and blah, 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 blah. And so, to me – DeBonce is the safe pick. This is the safest pick, if he's available, obviously, and you're not trading Ace Bailey to get him. But if he's available, he's the safest pick.
Peterson 1, DeBonce 2, Boozer 3, Caleb 4, and then the real draft begins.
Then who likes the best
of the
guards.
smaller guards?
Yeah,
right. Yeah. And Peterson's a guard, but he's bigger than these other guys.
Right.
All right, DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up top of the hour, Brian Dunseth joins us to talk World Cup. U.S. is off to a great start. How far can they go? Stay with us. We'll get to that.
Overwhelmed? That was me with diabetes. Hey, I'm Jabron. Between teaching and coaching, managing diabetes felt like an extra job. With the Freestyle Libre 3C GM, I get real-time glucose readings and have the insights to make informed decisions. My life feels lighter now. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Ice Cube's Big 3 is back. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Saturday. Big 3 All-Star Dwight Howard and the LA Riot take on Greg Monroe and the Dallas Power. Then Coach Rick Mahorn, Sensation Nazir Kaur, and the Detroit Amps look to protect home court against back-to-back MVP Michael Beasley and the defending champs Miami 305. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch replays on BET.
Oh, yay, yay!
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle, the eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag, and the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 biggie bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. 4, 6, and $8 biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Don't miss your chance to win big every week on the KSL Sports Zone. This week, you can win a pair of tickets to see Leonard Skinner at the Utah State Fair on September 16th. Tickets include fair admission, so get yours now at utahstatefair.com or listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. Are you a fair guy, Yak?
I've been to it. I don't necessarily go every year. It's fun.
I grew up going to fairs every year. We lived in the sticks, and I was in 4-H. So
that would explain.
That was a week at the fairgrounds. Every year. Just saw a thing about your first concert or something, and my wife's like, "What was your first concert?" I'm like, "I have no idea." It was whoever at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, but they had free concerts every night. Yeah. And now to ask me when I was like
somebody showed up,
10, 11, 12 years old, who you saw first, no idea.
Well, and that's the thing about it is there's so many festivals here in the state. Like Strawberry Days over the weekend in Pleasant Grove. My in-laws live in Pleasant Grove. I spent part of the weekend there. I've been to Splash Days, which is in Sarah. So by the time the state fair rolls around, you kind of been to
you're worn out on it.
Anyways.
Yeah, been there, done that. All right, we just had David Locke on talking NBA draft, and you touched on something, PK, a lot of our listeners have touched on. We got this question up on our Facebook page. Draft week's here. What is your gut instinct? And we've got Chris. There's no chance the Jazz pass on AJ if he's there at number 2. But I think they would take Boozer over Peterson if AJ goes number 1.
Well, it's possible. I can't say, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, I get it.
But you agree with the first half, right? The Jazz are not going to pass on AJ at number 2. I guess I can't guarantee it because I don't know. I don't have 2 sources, blah, blah, blah. But I would find that stunning if the Jazz pass on Debotsa.
I'm not, and I agree with you, I'm not that hung up on his lack of three-point shooting.
I was a little surprised
he can
you
make
said
baskets.
no on the 35-36 right
Well, if
away.
I mean to go yes or no, there was no wiggle room.
Yeah, I would have gone yes. I mean, 40 seems like a big ask. That he's going to become an elite three-point shooter? I don't know about that.
But I don't care.
A lot of guys get to 37 or 38.
This three-point shooting stuff reminds me before the rules were changed in baseball. Either you strike out or you hit a home run. How about I get a single, I steal second base, and then somebody moves him over, and then I get a sac fly? I got to run. I got one on the scoreboard. If I get a bunch of them on the scoreboard, I win.
Right. But
And
no
so
one
it's-
believes, with Miz throwing 104, no one thinks they can get the bat on the ball that often.
That's the I didn't get the bat on the ball. It's just swinging from the gazoo and going for a home run or a strikeout. And you went right to the highest exception that there is.
I did.
Right. Nobody else is
He's
doing
throwing
that.
the hardest.
So
Yeah.
in the history of the game, you went to the hardest thrower of all time.
Well, I was just going actually current history. Current history? What? Because they've changed the way they do it. They used to time what it was at home plate versus now what it is coming out of your hand. So all the numbers are inflated. They're cheating on that stuff.
Whatever. I get your point. So I
They're
just don't think that you're acting like if he shoots 40%, you're going to win 14 NBA titles. No. And if he doesn't shoot 36% or 37%, you're going to win 0. I don't buy that. It's not that simple. You're the guy who makes basketball complex because you played. And I come in here and say, well, look at the shooting percentage of the other team. It's 37% from the field. They're probably going to lose. Well, it's a lot more complicated than that. Now, all of a sudden, we're boiling it down to if he shoots 40%, oh my gosh. If he shoots 36%, 35%, 34%, what a failure. We can never win. It's not that simple. How about that? We're having revolt. Not that you're doing it completely. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying the roles are reversed. There's way more ways to win basketball games than simply what is your three-point shooting percentage. And we're making it sound like that's it.
There's a lot of truth to that, which is why you can do that, and you just did. But when you draft this high and there's this much talent, you do need to get the player who's going to be awesome. And if he ends up being a really good three-point shooter, he is going to be – you're just not going to be able to defend the guy. He's going to be such a force. And you don't have that many chances to get him. And I know you can say, hey, Steph was at 7 and the Joker was in the second round and Giannis and Kawhi were in the middle of the first round. But it is super hard to find those guys. You know, and I know the Jazz did it 40 years ago, and nobody wants to wait another 40 years. So if you have a chance to get a guy who can really just be awesome. I mean, we watched 4 years of tanking. Will Hardy's had coach 4 years of tanking. Get him. Get the guy if he's that guy. Yeah, and there are other ways to win. And you can ham and egg it. And the Knicks just did. And they just did. And maybe you catch some breaks along the way. They didn't have to play Oklahoma City, who I've heard described as their kryptonite. Well, sometimes breaks happen and you get them.
Who cares?
Right. They get to have the trophy.
Wyndham Clark won the U.S. Open. That's all that matters.
It doesn't matter how big the lead was or wasn't.
The two of us celebrated. You cried.
I did not cry, even a single tear. I giggled when you didn't respond to the text with Jake and I at 16-17 when it was hanging in the palace.
You said wait till 18. I took your order.
You were waiting.
That's what you said to do.
DJ PK, when we come back, Brian Dunseth, how good is the U.S.? How far can they go in the World Cup? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Ice Cube's Big 3 is back. The most competitive basketball league on earth is on CBS this Saturday. Big 3 All-Star Dwight Howard and the LA Riot take on Greg Monroe and the Dallas Power. Then Coach Rick Mahorn, Sensation Nazir Kaur, and the Detroit Amps look to protect home court against back-to-back MVP Michael Beasley and the defending champs Miami 305. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and catch replays on BET.
Oh, yay, yay!